mistaking endurance for virtue. Putting up with bad doesn't make us good. By peak afflatus, we often conflate the ability to endure with moral worth. In work, relationships, and life, we tolerate misery and call it character. We absorb discomfort and call it strength. We suffer and assume the suffering itself makes us virtuous. This is the trap. Endurance becomes a self-justifying identity, even when it harms us. Instead of questioning whether something should be endured at all, we treat the endurance as proof of goodness, resilience, or righteousness. It is astonishing how often we uphold hardship as a moral achievement, rather than recognizing when endurance is simply self-neglect. Consider a fraction of the language we have created as shorthand for enduring strength. Bite the bullet, shoulder the burden, weather the storm, grit your teeth, soldier on, go the extra mile, and on it goes. An entire vocabulary built to praise endurance as if it were a sacred right. But maybe the real suffering comes from trying to live up to these impossible standards. From believing we should take anything life throws at us, when we are simply not built for that kind of punishment. We do not have the armor of an armadillo. We are soft, porous, easily wounded. How did our squidgy bodies ever convince our minds that we were meant to be so tough? How did status come to stem from struggle? Life often feels like an endurance event. Mine was performing to social and corporate expectation under the mask of undiagnosed autism. I used to sit in boardrooms, listening to confident voices fill the room with certainty, my expression neutral, defying my mind's critique. I would go home drained. Yet on a mountainside, with a crisp breeze cleansing my mind, I could recharge. The world felt coherent again. Climbing made sense in a way modern life did not. The fatigue had a reason. It gave back what the ordinary day wore away. This obsession with toughness has an origin. When life was brutal, survival depended on strength, endurance, and resilience. The fragile did not make it. But in modern life, where most of us survive regardless, suffering has become a kind of currency. A way to stand out. A way to prove worth by pushing back at the world with sheer resilience. A way to feel as though the ease we enjoy was earned. Somewhere along the way we exchanged harm for honor. The fallout is all around us. Friends who cannot sleep. Colleagues who cannot switch off. Families stretched to threads by the belief that a harder life is a more meaningful one. People pushing themselves past breaking because they fear what stopping might reveal. As if rest were a moral failure, where we'd sooner break down than take a break. Yet the steeper the climb, the more likely you are to slide backwards or fall into the abyss altogether. Perhaps it is no surprise we spend our lives swimming upstream. It is how we begin, after all. Propelled by desperation and competition before we even have a self. When the race is finished, what remains? Some stand proud with their scars. Some receive heroic eulogies. Others feel hollow, realizing too late they were running a race that was never theirs. Stumbling at the crux of our lives becomes almost inevitable. Felt as weakness, it may be a recalibration that requires the most strength. You have been listening to Peak Afflatus.